In a quiet, rain-dappled corner of a particularly green forest where moss grew in soft, furry mounds and the trees whispered secrets to one another, lived a small ball of golden fur named Snaffle. He wasn't quite a bear, nor a bunny, nor anything you might find in a picture book, just a bit of this and that, round and soft with velvety paws, a tiny brown nose, and tufted ears that twitched whenever he was deep in thought. Snaffle lived in the hollow of an old oak tree, but his favorite place in the world was his shop, a mushroom-shaped cabin filled with the treasures he found, made or mended, tiny toys, shiny trinkets, and all manner of oddities from across the forest. One rainy afternoon, as the drizzle shimmered across the leaves and raindrops tapped gently on his round window, Snaffle stirred a mug of chamomile tea and sighed with contentment. The forest was still, peaceful, and drowsy. Perfect, he thought, for a day of crafting. Padding to his workbench, he opened a drawer full of colorful supplies, ribbons, pom-poms, glittering string, and little scraps of felt shaped like stars. "Oh yes," he murmured, his eyes twinkling. "Today feels just right." Dipping his quill into berry ink, he wrote on a piece of birch bark, "It's a rainy craft afternoon at Snaffle's. Bring your paws and your imagination. Snacks welcome." He tied the note to a sunny yellow balloon with a purple bow and set it free. The balloon floated out into the misty air, bobbing through the trees like a cheerful spark of sunshine. It wasn't long before a knock sounded at his door. Walter the Mole appeared first, wearing green polka dot wellies and glasses that always slid down his nose. "I saw your balloon," he said, holding up a basket of yarn and felt. "Landed right on my molehill." Soon, Betty the Badger arrived, wrapped in her patchwork raincoat and carrying a paper bag of honey crumbles. "I brought snacks," she said, smiling. Hugo the Toad hopped up next, balancing a big rain hat and a flask of creamy hot chocolate. And finally, Sidney the Squirrel swung in through the window, a necklace of acorn caps jingling and a box of beads slung over his tail. "Did someone say crafts?" he squeaked. Inside the shop, the fire crackled warmly, the air smelled of cinnamon and beeswax, and the rain made a soft rhythm on the roof. Together, the friends spread patchwork rugs across the floor and lit tiny mushroom lamps that glowed like sleepy stars. "Let's start with sock puppets," Snaffle said, setting out googly eyes, ribbons, and felt. Soon, the room was full of laughter and chatter as they stitched and glued their creations. Walter sewed with his tongue poking out in concentration, while Hugo squeezed too much glitter glue and decorated his own nose instead of his puppet. Betty gave hers a monocle, and Snaffle made a fuzzy dragon puppet with floppy wings. Sidney's puppet looked suspiciously like a squirrel in a feather boa. When they finished, the friends performed a tiny play on the windowsill about a brave sock knight, a sleepy dragon, and a mysteriously missing cookie, which of course turned up in Betty's paw. After the giggles faded, Snaffle suggested they make mobiles. From a box of shells, twigs, and shiny foil, they created little wonders to hang above their beds. Walter's mobile featured a teapot pouring stars into a cup, or so he said. Betty's dangled a honey pot beside a sleeping bear. Hugo's clouds rained silver threads, and Sidney's hammocks held felt animals, one of which was a yellow yarn snaffle. The shop glowed with soft light as they worked, each creation turning gently in the warm air. Later, the rain softened to a whisper. The friends sipped tea and hot chocolate and munched honey crumbles as the world outside turned misty. "Let's make origami swans," Snaffle said quietly. The silver paper shimmered like moonlight as they folded. Press, turn, fold, press, turn, fold, until a flock of delicate swans hung from the ceiling beams, drifting lazily in the candlelight. The forest beyond the windows looked dreamlike, blurred by rain. One by one, the friends yawned and nestled into the cushions. "Rainy days are the best," murmured Walter. "You don't have to go anywhere," said Hugo sleepily. "You just be." Snaffle smiled and tucked the blankets around them all. "Warm, silly, full of good things," he whispered. "The best kind of day." As the friends drifted into dreams, the shop became still, glowing like a tiny lantern under the great oak tree. Outside, the Koala Moon rose, round and gentle, her soft silver light spilling across the sleepy forest. She smiled down through the window at Snaffle and his friends, wrapping them in her calm glow. "Rest now, little ones," she seemed to whisper. "You are safe. You are loved." The moonlight touched their paws, their hearts, and their dreams, carrying them deeper into peaceful sleep. And so, under the humming rain and the tender watch of the Koala Moon, Snaffle dreamed too, of laughter, glitter, and the golden warmth of friendship. The night was quiet, the world was kind, and somewhere, far above the treetops, the moon whispered her lullaby. "Sleep now, little one. You are home."